So welcome everybody to this ProServantner podcast, exploring the world of shared services, GBS and transformation. My name is Paul Morrison. I'm Managing Director at ProServantner. And today I'm really delighted to be able to welcome Andrea Schaffell to our session. Andrea is Head of Shared Services at Equans UK. Equans provides business support services, low carbon energy solutions, facilities management, and many other things to many business, customer, community clients and customers. So really warm welcome, Andrea. Thank you for finding time in your busy schedule.
Of course, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Paul.
Great stuff. And in our session today, we're going to talk about shared services as it appears to you, Andrea, and Equans. And we're just going to run through a few quick fire questions. Okay. And I think the first one really is just to get a sense of where is Equans UK and its shared services journey? What's the story so far?
Yeah, so the story so far, gosh, where are we? We're kind of, we're not immature, but I don't think we're at the most mature level of shared services. Our shared services journey started in 2014. And that was based on coming together of some companies that had merged together. At the time, we were a part of NG. And so we've been in existence for 9 years now, which is hard to believe. We're a multifunction organization and have been since the beginning. And it includes hire to retire, payroll. We've got record to report, procure to pay, O2C, as well as we support about 60 of our external contracts with an FM help desk. And we also have the IT service desk for the entire UK population. So we do a lot of interesting activities, not all necessarily finance related, which a lot of shared services are. So a great team based up here in Newcastle.
Absolutely. So it's really interesting. So you've broken very much beyond that finance focus, which many shared services don't actually do. Yeah. And that's quite a big functional scope there. And what's the strategy then? Is it to maximize the scope of the activities that are in that center? What's the plan?
I mean, clearly we want to maximize what we're doing for the company. We want to actually look at how we allow the business to get on with the business, generating revenues and sales for us, allowing us to take on activities that don't have as much value add to the external customer in the main. And so by allowing our business to focus on what matters most to them, we can just help them be successful, which frankly is what shared services is all about in many instances. Yeah. And that's what we want to continue to do. We want to continue to look at our model and to have another visit of our operating model to see what more could we do, or could we do something differently and in a better way.
And how do you know when the operations of the shared service center are on target? What's the value that you deliver? What's the value that really means a lot to your clients and customers?
I think that, what is so valuable to our customers is not having to worry about getting key activities managed and taken care of for them. So, thinking about something that sounds really simple, like accounts payable, they don't have to worry about making 30,000 payments a month. We can take care of that for them. And it's crucial to their success. So if their suppliers aren't paid, they're not getting to do their business. And you can look at the same for everything that we do. And that value of paying our employees, the value of collecting cash and applying it properly. It sounds all very simple, but it really allows us to manage this across so many different legal entities with a single organization, as opposed to every legal entity doing their own thing. And that's where really the value is, and being able to provide that consolidated reporting and information to our executives in the business.
So Andrea, how did you bring about this? So Andrea, how did you manage to bring all these different functions together in shared services? Was it a big bang, or tell me about that?
Yeah, so interestingly, I joined in 2020 during the first lockdown, so I wasn't here when it came together. But yes, it was pretty much a big bang, and it was through mergers and acquisitions process that we brought on board a company that had their own shared services. I think there was a bit of shared services already happening within NG at the time. And so they literally moved people across the road from one business to another, and we pulled it all together. So it was the intent that absolutely shared services was the way to make this happen, to be successful with this through that merger and acquisition, and working with everyone. So that's what it was all about.
And you mentioned there's other shared services in the wider corporate family. How does that work at the moment? Do you share best practice, or is it more sort of arm's length because you're in very different geographies?
Yeah. I don't know that. Well, I guess geography may have a little bit to do with it, but in reality, we're on different finance systems. We use three different ERPs at the moment. We just had another. We were just acquired recently by another company, Bouygues. However, historically, there's been another business of ours on a different ERP. So I think the company has had some concerns and challenges. How do you actually have a single shared services work with multiple ERP systems, different ways of working? And so from my background, I know that it's possible, but I think that we're in a position now that we're really starting to look at what are the synergies, what are the best practices. This has really come to the forefront with our recent, the fact that we were acquired by Bouygues and coming and working together. So between Bouygues and Equans, we're looking at best practices from two different organizations, but now we're also including in the third organization that has traditionally been a part of Equans on a different ERP. So definite best practice, definite how we can use the same tools, but build them slightly differently. So the teams are working really well together and understand that huge benefit of more ideas and like minds coming together can just make us stronger. So that's happening now.
That's great. I mean, it seems like the smart way to work, and there's so much to be done in shared services if you can share the load and work smart. That's got to be the way. It strikes me you've got a moving target though as well. Like many organisations, there's the acquisitions you were talking about, for example. How do you do that, or is that just a part of the job that you've got to expect these big changes and get on with it, or is it? What do you think?
Well, I think shared services is all about change and transformation, whether it's internal in what you work on yourselves without a lot of mergers and acquisitions. But I think it's that flexibility and the agility to work through and with new companies and new processes and new people really makes a difference. And I think that, it's hard, but I think, we excel and we do a pretty decent job at it.
So it's got to be a core competence. Then you're saying if you can't do that, then as a shared service, then you're in trouble.
Maybe you're in trouble, and almost why bother? Otherwise, it gets pretty boring, right? So we, as I said earlier, we don't have individually the most exciting activities going on. But when you start taking on different projects, it gives people a reason for being. It gives people excitement. It gives people something to consider what it is they want to do next, how they can make a positive impact, more than paying a supplier or paying an employee or collecting cash. And it drives people for excitement in there.
It's really interesting. I think that's maybe we touch on that a little more about the people dimension, and you mentioned COVID as well. So it's been a turbulent few years. How does it seem to you on the bridge when you think about the challenge of attracting, retaining great people, so central? What's your thought on that space?
I'm very honest. It's hard. It's not easy. And one, I think we have a really great organization. Equans itself is a great company. Our shared services is really phenomenal. I think we spend a lot of time thinking about our employees, supporting our employees, not just within shared services, but across Equans as a whole. And you know, being very open, we're not the best payers in the world. But I think what we offer such opportunity for people to see new things, to grow, to get more tools on their tool belt for what they're doing. It's just not routine and the same over and over. And I would say pretty much for everyone, I think every day is a new day. There's always some kind of challenge, and that really helps drive the great people that you want in your
Yeah.
organization and those that like change and like moving around. And, like all companies, we have had attrition over the last 3 years. It's been a tough time, but everyone that's joined our organization has really been all about change and being willing to be agile and flexible with what they do, how they do it, and when they do it. And so that makes a real big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's a dynamic picture. And maybe connected to that, you were talking earlier on about the central challenge of shared services was needing to make it simpler for your customers.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you keep oversight of the detail, manage risk, make sure quality is on target? How do you govern this very complicated work?
Yeah, it's, you say make it simpler. Our vision is to make life easier. So that's what we say. How do we make life easier for people? And, not everything we do is simple, but we do try to make it easier for people by us taking it and accepting some of the burden. So we look at the various tools that we're using. We try to see how, if we can make our lives easier within shared services, that transcends. So you think about that with customer service. If you've got a great employee experience, hopefully your customers have a good experience as well. So by giving our people tools and new ways of working, that can really help make a difference. And so, we're a little bit behind probably, but we've just implemented our first RPA tool in our IT service desk area, which has been, fantastic, and everybody's absolutely thrilled with that. We're working with a new external partner, Zelex, helping us through our accounts payable area. So just having these tools that make our lives easier, we know that everything we're doing is going to then in turn help our internal customers. And in some cases, looking at Zelex, thinking about our suppliers and them having an easier time as well working with us. And I think it's looking, we don't have the most current ERP system, and it's something that we're looking at now. And that can be frustrating, but when you can get those bolt-ons and other tools to really help, that really drives change and some simplification for people.
Okay. So digital change is the number one lever then for moving towards that simpler future, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, digital levers are really important. I mean, I'd love to say, yeah, I'm just going to continue to add staff and add staff and add staff, but that's just not the way of the world. So it is going digital makes a really big difference. Streamlining our processes with that digital world makes a really big difference, and that then drives, of course, that simplification, and it's easier then on our customers if we can digitize, make it simpler for them, streamline their process, and knowing that what they put through, what comes out the other side, it meets the quality that they need. And all of us who are in the shared services world know we hear about it when quality's not quite there. We're the first to hear when there's an issue or concern on quality.
By that you mean an issue in the service or in the technology? Sorry.
So in the service.
Yeah.
So, but I'd go so far as to say with the technology as well. So if something's not working in the technology, we hear about that as well. So we like to think that everything we're building is terrific. Last year, we implemented a new starters, leavers, and amendment process for HR in our hire to retire team. And we had a very, very short window that we could do this with an external provider. It was built from scratch. And we thought we had gotten it all. But, over time, and as people are using the tool, we're getting input from our internal customers saying, it would be great if we could have X, Y, and Z. And so we take that on board, and then we look at what we can do to make that improvement for them. So it's that bit of quality that we hear about. What could change? What could we do to help make their lives easier? And improve their quality as well.
And where does process fit in this picture? We talked about people and technology there. How do you approach process at Equans and shared services?
Gosh, I guess actually if everything was like completely blue sky, you'd want to step back and go, what is that right process for us? And do we have the right tools? I think because we've been in business in shared services for a while, we're looking at our tools and how does that affect our process. So we might be a little bit backwards with that in an extent. But when we think about putting in a new tool or looking at digital, we do say, how does that impact our process? What do we want to do differently? How can we shorten time frames, timelines? How can we be more succinct with our work? How can we ensure quality is there? So I think we have to look at process hand in hand with digitization, and we have to be agile about it. So it's almost a chicken and the egg for me a little bit.
Yeah. I agree. I ask the difficult questions. So I'm not making it very, very easy for you. I completely see that with all the organisations we work with. It's difficult to, or it would be wrong to say that there's a simple single dimension that drives things. But so it's interesting to hear your take on that. Interesting just to jump back for a second to we talked about employee experience and customer experience there. I'm just interested in your view, to what extent, how far can you take that, or do you take that at Equans? As some organizations will talk about journey mapping and thinking about the different personas, and some may invest in special platforms, portals in this space. Is customer experience like that something that you are actively investing in, or is it more of a mindset that's more important for shared services?
So I think for us, investment is challenging. So for us, it's going all the way back to the beginning and thinking about having happy employees helps have a happy customer, having that good employee experience. So, I'm really fortunate because I have an employee experience manager who's on my team. And so we're able to really focus on the employee experience. We, since COVID, we have not done any kind of official customer satisfaction type survey. We do that very in specific ways within our IT service desk and with our FM help desk. But for the rest of the business and the service we provide, just based on the volume of work and the activity going on across the company as a whole, we had been asked to hold back on doing that kind of a survey just because of the level of effort and time. So that's been a little bit of a struggle, but I do really subscribe to the fact that if our employees enjoy what they're doing, if they've got the basic tools that they need, if they've got a great environment to be in, all of that shines through when we're working with our customers. And so, we just don't have the benefit of particular tools or software to really help us look at that. So we find the best way we can and how we support. And we do, I don't want to come across that we don't do anything. I mean, we do have meetings with our customers. We do get the voice of the customer. It's just not in an official way, in an official format. So we're able to take that conversation that we have and turn that into action items as we see fit.
It's a very pragmatic ethos, and that, I think that makes sense. I guess in many conversations around shared services, there are buzzwords, there are boxes that
Yeah. So secret sauce. I mean, for me, it's all about the people. Mm-hmm. So we can have all the digitization that we want. We can have all the processes that we want. We can have all the systems, but we still need people. And without having people that you've hired for the right attitude, the willingness to share and to be a part of a team, the willingness to do the right thing, and knowing that people are dependent upon you, and knowing that without this team, I always say, the company would collapse. So, we are the secret sauce, right? It is all of my 175 staff. Everybody makes up a bit of that secret sauce, because it's all of us coming together, that diversity of thought, the way we support our customers, internal and external, really makes the huge difference.
Yeah. That's a great answer. I have to ask, in passing this way, around the secret sauce, people, the role of technology. There's a lot of talk about disruptive technology and AI and generative AI, etc. Do you have a view on the significance of that in the next few years, or how do you digest a buzzword like AI?
Well, I struggle. I'll be really honest. I mean, I just don't know where it's all going to go, quite frankly. And I still think that people are really important. And I still think that, we can put in all of these tools. And what I think these tools allow us to do is to grow our business without necessarily having to add resources to take on more activity and more work. I don't think these tools remove the human side of the component of shared services at all. But I do think it allows for greater expansion. It allows us to think new ways of doing things, perhaps, and having more advanced tools, making people more excited about being at work and seeing the future possibilities. But I like the idea of being more automated and having other tools kind of think for us and to help remove errors and to improve certain functionalities and to improve quality. But how do you measure quality from a machine? Honestly, it's like there's no human side to it.
Yeah, it's a big question. We'll need another podcast for that. No, I like your answer. I think that's right, and I think the fundamental focus on people is key, and I think it's honest and realistic to say it's difficult to exactly gauge the impact. I don't think anyone knows exactly the full extent of things, but all the use cases we see around augmentation and using generative AI, for example, to make your talent's expertise go further, I think is absolutely where we definitely see a lot of evidence for that. So let's keep our eyes peeled. And I think really we've pretty much run out of our time slot here. So I'm going to say thank you very much, Andrea. It's been really, really good to run through the Equans story, and I've really enjoyed that messaging, that focus around people, around experience, around the organizing mission you have of making it simpler for your customers is really sort of powerful stuff. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time, and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you to our listeners. If you've enjoyed the session just now, we've got many others on our site. We've got a number of real and virtual events coming up in the next months as well. So please do visit our website, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.